Hello, my Pixel peeps. Welcome back. Nicole Payne, CMA, here as always to drop some accounting truth bombs. And oh my goodness, it's fall, y'all. I've been saying that a lot because I really love the phrase. But I also really love fall. And one of the main reasons that I love fall is because it's the time of the year that I get to talk about something else that I absolutely love. I get to talk about budgets. I love talking budgets. And I know that probably makes me sound a little crazy because most people think budget and they want to run the opposite way. But I think budgets have a bad rap. And that kind of goes back to my days as a young girl. I've always been an avid reader, but as a young girl, I read the book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And there's a passage in there that has always stuck with me. And talking about budgets makes me think of this passage. And it's it's the book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. And in it, there's a passage, I'll just paraphrase, where Alice asks the Cheshire Cat which path to take. And the Cheshire Cat responds, "Well, where do you want to go?" To which Alice responds, "I don't really know where I want to go." And the Cheshire Cat says, "Well, if you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter much which path you ought to take." Think about that. Let that sit in for a second. If you don't know where you want to go, it doesn't matter which path you ought to take. Now, this is obviously very applicable in multiple instances of life, but I think it's especially applicable in relation to business. If you don't know where you want your business to go, it doesn't matter what you do today or tomorrow or next year. But if you know where you want to go 5 years from now or 1 year from now, your budget is the roadmap that lays out the steps that you need in order to get there. So that's why I love talking about budgets, because it is the master plan that will get you where you want to be. So we're going to talk about budgets over the coming weeks, and we're going to get into kind of a deep dive of what's called the master budget process. And if you're an accounting student or if you are a management accountant, you know that there is an official thing called the master budget, and it has a lot of moving parts, about 10 to be exact. I'm not going to go into detail of all of those moving parts because for most of my small business clients, that's just too much. If you tell them that there are 10 things that they need to budget out and 10 budgets that they need to have, their heads will explode. But I have, over the several years, I've condensed that 10 budgets, components, down into 5. That's a little bit more easy for my small business clients to break off into. We've got 5 budgets that we need to think about. So those 5 budgets are your sales budget. Sales are the foundation for everything else in your business, so that's always the first thing that you are going to budget. Then you're going to budget your cost of goods sold. Now, if you are a retail company, that's called your purchasing budget. If you are a manufacturing company or a service-based business, it's called your production budget. Then after you've budgeted your sales and your cost of goods sold, you're also going to budget your selling and administrative expenses. Now, this is all of your overhead, the things that you have to pay or you're going to pay regardless of whether you have sales or not. Things like rent and advertising and all of those things. Now, within your selling and administrative budget, there's another component that falls in there, but I separate it out as its own budget, and it's your payroll or labor budget. Now, why do I separate this out? It's because you've got who knows how many employees. They all have different pay rates. They're all working different numbers of hours. They're working different shifts. They have different benefits that they've opted into. You want to make sure you have all of those pieces laid out as efficiently as possible, rather than trying to roll them all up into one line item on your selling and administrative budget. So I separate that out. We'll go into detail there. Then once you have that, you're going to talk about your cash budget. Now, You might think, why do I need a budget for my cash? My cash is what my cash is. And that is sort of true, but there may be times where when you take your sales because of seasonality or because of high production or having to make a big inventory purchase, you may actually go in the negative. And we know that if we have zero cash or negative cash, even worse, you can't do anything with your business. So you always want to keep an eye on where your cash is going to be from month to month, from week to week, so that you make sure that you don't go negative, that you don't run out of cash. So your cash budget is going to take into consideration things like, do you need some short-term financing? Do you need to put something on a credit card? Do you need a line of credit? Do you need to take out a term loan for working capital? Do you need to have the owners invest some money so that there's some working capital? And you factor in all of those costs that are associated with those things into your cash budget. Then you roll all of that stuff up into the master budget as your budgeted income statement or P&L and your budgeted balance sheet. Now, like I said, those are the 5 things that I focus on with my clients. You may decide that you want to go even deeper and focus on all of those other budget pieces that are part of the official master budget. But my theory has been, and it's been served me pretty well over the past couple decades of doing this, that when you focus on at least these 5 things, it'll get you close enough that you'll be in the ballpark, you'll be comfortable, you will know where your numbers are, and you won't have to stress. So, over the coming weeks, we're going to talk about each of these components. We're going to go deep. We're going to get in the nitty-gritty of what you want to do, to how to budget these things, what things you want to consider. And I hope by the end of this series, you will be as excited about budgets as I am, so that you will be able to do your master budget for the upcoming year. Anyway, take care, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video.